What's up, YouTube? This is Oblivion Duelist X, and today we're gonna do another inter. I'm just gonna call it Yugitube interviewing because it's not really a guide on Yugitubing. So today we have Randall Jordan, Mega Capital G,
Hello.
and
I'm here.
we're gonna do it like we always do it. Ask the 10 questions, and I have no restrictions. You can answer them in any way, shape, or form. And yeah. So first question is, how did you get into Yu-Gi-Oh?
All right. I got into Yu-Gi-Oh when a friend of mine, his older brother, opened a video game shop in Baltimore, Maryland. I used to live in that area, and one thing that he noticed, this was kind of like in the early 2000s when the game was still in like the early stages. One thing that he noticed was a lot of the kids in Baltimore were playing this game called Yu-Gi-Oh, and I had never really heard of it, but I used to go to his shop all the time just because it was a cool place to hang out, play video games, and people started showing me the game, and then I learned about the anime, and I was like, this is actually pretty fun. And when I was younger, I used to collect Pokemon, but I never actually learned how to play the game. So it being kind of a new popular card game at the time, I got interested, started buying booster packs, and then basically I just got addicted to it. Between the show and the actual card game and how many people were playing it at the time, and the fact that you could trade to get anything you needed, it kind of all culminated in me just getting hooked on the game.
What did you expect when you uploaded your first YouTube video for Yu-Gi-Tubing?
I wasn't really. I thought that I would just get. I thought that I would just get kind of a lot of comments, congratulating me because the influence to start a YouTube channel about Yu-Gi-Oh for me was actually a Yugituber named JT the Underdog. Now he has since been retired, but I remember watching some of his videos and thinking, like these are really cool. He's showing off deck profiles of regional decks, and he's got music in the background, and it just seemed really exciting. I never thought, that was my first kind of experience with YouTubing, and I thought that it was a natural transition from the card game. So I really wasn't sure what to expect. I thought that a lot of people would be congratulating me on my deck and the success that I had, because I wanted my first video to be a top 8 regional deck profile. I deliberately waited until I topped the regional to upload that video because I wanted my channel to have some sort of credibility. I didn't feel like I could just tell people, give my opinions on how to play and stuff if I wasn't very good. So I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't get a lot of hate in that first video, and I wasn't really sure what to expect other than people just kind of congratulating me on finally getting that top 8.
What keeps you going playing Yu-Gi-Oh and Yu-Gi-Tubing?
Okay, with Yugi tubing, I like the interaction with the community. I like the fact that I can pose a question or an idea, a thought, and I can get so much reaction from so many different perspectives. You know what I mean? People who are passionate about certain archetypes or cards, and people who have different opinions and views that I don't have. Sometimes when you get on forums, you can have a very small sample size of what people really feel about cards, and kind of like the interactions and strategies. I feel like YouTube is just such a broad and big kind of platform for any type of videos. So really interacting with the community, and I just enjoy I just enjoy talking to people about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. So as far as what keeps me interested in Yu-Gi-Oh, well, right now the format is incredibly fun. I mean, I think mainly it's just Konami and their archetypes. I mean, yeah, I won't lie. Sometimes the game does get stale, and I'll go through small periods where I don't play the game as much. Right now, I'm almost borderline addicted to the game, but I guess I would say overall, what keeps me going in the actual card game is the fact that it's fun. They're constantly releasing broken cards, and sometimes they damage the game, and they kind of cut their nose to spite their face. But overall, the game has continually been fun for years. I mean, I'm talking a decade plus, and that's what really keeps me interested and keeps me
Who
going.
helped you? Who helped you out to get more popular as a Yugituber?
Oh, there's a few people. Definitely. Well, if I had to point at three in particular, I would definitely say Galactic God, MCO 40, and Duck Dad. I would even say inadvertently the Silent Enigma. It is well known the back and forth. I guess I don't want to say beefs and rivalries that we've had, but even though they were completely legitimate, not staged or scripted at all, I do think that they benefited both of our channels. I mean, people can say what they want, but at the end of the day, I think people do like drama. I would say that Robbie and Dubke Dad definitely helped me early on when I was real small. I'm talking when I had like 5,000 subscribers. Especially Dubke Dad, he saw that I had quality videos, but maybe my audience wasn't nearly as large as his, and those were two guys who were kind of like kings of Yugitubing. I'm talking like 4 or 5 years ago, where there weren't nearly as many channels. Those guys let me post videos on their channels. It got me a lot of exposure, brought me new viewers, and then recently Galactic God. Galactic God is really up there. I think over 70,000 subscribers. I posted a video on his channel recently. It was very well received. I think it had over like 20,000 views, and he was just a really easy person to work with. I always applaud Galactic God because it doesn't seem to matter the size of the channel or um, you know uh, just he's one of the easiest people to work with, and I feel like he really does give back to the Yugi community. He's one of those people where he's always there to help anybody for pretty much any reason, no questions asked.
Oh, yeah, I miss Dub K.
Yeah, I know. He has like, I mean, he had a kid, like a teenage kid when he started his channel, so he has real life issues, and I think he had a baby like a couple of years ago. So, but I love Delk Dad. I call him my Uncle Delk.
Would you ever do a different card game on your channel or discuss anime?
All right, I don't think that unless Yu-Gi-Oh just absolutely died. I mean, I'm so committed to this game, especially considering I've got 31,000 subscribers. It's like I'm not gonna shut this down pretty much for anything. Maybe if the game just overnight died, a la some of like the other card games in the past, like I think Marvel Versus and stuff like that. Maybe I would transition over to like a newer card game or something like that. But just in general, because Yu-Gi-Oh was such a big part of my teenage and early adulthood years, I don't really think that I would consider discussing another card game as long as Yu-Gi-Oh is healthy and alive. As far as anime, of course, I mean, I feel like anime and Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game, go hand in hand because the card game is based on a manga and anime. So most people get into the game based on the TV show or based on the manga. In fact, I actually do have a series of discussions about anime. I call it Anime Talk, and a lot of times, since I'm a huge anime fanatic, love the anime way before Yu-Gi-Oh was even a thought. I'll discuss Naruto, Bleach. Everybody knows my absolute just love of the show One Piece, and even though people say that I'm too much of a shonen fanboy, I do kind of try and spread it around. But I love anime, and I do discussions on my channel about it.
Okay, being a veteran player, what's the deck you hate the most in your Yu-Gi-Oh career, and explain?
I'm well. All right. This might take some thought because I'm trying to think between Exodia and Shaneburn. I think it's gonna be Exodia because I can't in good conscience completely hate. I can't on good conscience say that Shaneburn is my most hated deck because I've played Shaneburn at events. I've played it at locals and at a Shonen Jump, and I think I even played it at regionals. But Exodia it's so degenerate because it doesn't even want to give you a turn. And I understand that there are tons of FTKs in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh that
Frog
do the same
FTK.
exact thing. Yeah, exactly. Frog, FTK, way back when, Magical Scientist, Shadow Priestess of Ohm, and stuff like that. But as I said in my top 5 decks that douchebags like to play, the the way that people act when they get Exodia is so unbelievable. They act like they've never won with a deck before. They're always like, Exodia, and they throw their hands up. Yeah, exactly. Like everybody even knows that Exodia obliterate. Half these people probably haven't even seen the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! And still will just say it like I actually remember Jarrell Winston at Worlds when he played Exodia, and he activated like a really big chain where he drew like 4 cards, and then he kind of put his palm up to his opponent, and then he threw down all 5 pieces of Exodia and put his hand. I was like, oh my god! Like I feel like people they try and almost take themselves to being like part of the anime anytime that they get Exodia, and you just don't see that with any other deck, and it adds. It makes me feel a lot more salty than if I just would have lost to another FTK.
What deck do you love the most and why?
All time, I'm probably gonna have to go with Gladiator Beast. I think I've taught 2 regionals with Glad Beast. One time it was completely unexpected. It was during the Samurai format, and I like Glads because I feel like they're the greatest toolbox ever, and they kind of have a specific card for every single situation, even though they really, really need an evac device, and they needed it like 3 years ago. But I like the artwork on them. I like the concept of, kind of like a Roman theme. The fact that they're all different attributes and all different types, but they somehow work together is always cool. The entire concept of the contact fusion. I don't know if they were the first archetype to ever do it, but they were the first archetype to make that shit insane with Gryzaris and Light of Destruction. And then just the tag out mechanic. I thought the tagging mechanic was just awesome. We have a lot of different awesome mechanics like milling and stuff like that, but for you to be able to attack and to tag the guy out into a different guy and he activate his effect, the tag out mechanic was really cool as well.
How long have you played Yu-Gi-Oh?
I have played Yu-Gi-Oh! I believe it was either 2002 or 2003, so we're at 2015, so I mean over a dozen years. I started playing this game right when Magic Ruler was released. That's the 3rd set in Yu-Gi-Oh! So I've been playing this game for, over a dozen years. Now, I have had stints where I didn't really play competitively. I think basically from Invasion of Chaos all the way until like Enemy of Justice, I believe was the set that Dark World came out. Like I didn't play at all. And there will be formats where I don't really play competitively, like the Glad format. I didn't play Spellbook and Dragon format. I didn't play at all. But just kind of off and on, pretty much a dozen years. Like I've almost always kept up with the game though, even if I'm not playing competitively. Especially since I've started my YouTube channel.
Okay. What's your main goal as a Yugituber?
My main goal is to get to 100,000 subscribers. At that point, I feel like I've broken the boundary of not just becoming like a really popular and great Yugituber. I feel like I've become a really great and popular YouTuber, and it's really actually inspiring when I see, Asian Eyes White Dragon and Cyber Knight guys who have crossed that threshold, to think that this little card game that people love, that this small little niche can have so many followers who are passionate and like discussing and giving ideas into this card game. It's something that when I started, I couldn't have imagined. If you would have told me that there would be multiple YouTubers who had over 100,000 subscribers based on the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, I'd have told you you're crazy. I thought maybe JT the Underdog might have been the only one, but I guess that is. It's definitely my goal. It's achievable. I still have a long way to go, but 100,000. Once I get 100,000, I feel like I've really made it on YouTube.
Are there any shout outs you would like to give?
Yeah, I definitely like to give a shout out to you, Demetrius, for asking me to do this. I'm honored that somebody would even ask me to do an interview. And then just, shout outs to the entire community. Shout outs to anybody who plays the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Shout outs to anybody who watches the show. Shout outs to anybody who has made the card game a success. And shout outs to anybody who continues to support Yugitubers, big, small, bad, good, and different. The viewers and the community is the reason why Yugitubers continually make videos. So without them, none of this is really
Okay.
possible.
Thank you, Randall, so much for doing this interview.
No
And
problem.
thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the support. Subscribe to Great CapitalG if you don't, and hit that subscribe button and